to the Life and Listings podcast. I have my friend Mac here. Hey, Mac, thanks for joining us.
Jennifer, what's happening?
Hey, for anybody that's listening that has not met you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, where you're at, all the good things.
Oh boy, where to start? So my name is Mac. Work with Open to Close currently as the strategic partnerships manager. So I have the pleasure of going and working with a lot of other real estate businesses that support the agent, from real estate coaches to other technology solutions that we integrate and partner with, to influencers in the marketplace. So it's a lot of fun just trying to get connected, learn about their businesses, what they're doing to support agents, and seeing if there's ways for us to work with them. And, leading up to that, or this position rather, spent 10 years at a company called Boomtown, right out of school, got my working MBA there, started a training team, got to work with a lot of teams on how to implement and use Boomtown at a high level, and then moved into their community manager role, which was a lot of fun. Spent like 5 years basically creating content for our community, being a liaison between the product team and the client base, dealing with any PR issues. I know, Boomtown unfortunately had to go through some of that recently, so felt for the team there. And then from there, moved over to Sisu for 2 years, where I got to be director of ambassador relations. So very similar to what I'm doing at Open to Close. And, it's been a fun journey, and really have just been focused on supporting agents and teams in their growth and adoption of technology in their businesses, because I'm sure you see it all the time. It makes a huge difference in how they go about doing things, efficiency of operations, conversion of leads that they're working. So yeah, it runs the gamut. And then, outside of that, pretty simple guy, family man, got a couple little kids. We were just joking around before we started about, how we don't get stressed out at work, do we? We've got some other source of stress. But a lot of time with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and living life in sunny Charleston, South Carolina. But loving it. Yeah. Thanks for having me, though.
And I seriously was cracking up at, we've got a form to try to get some of the information from the guests. And I was reading Max earlier, and he's just talking about like what he does in his free time. And it's like painting fingernails and doing hair. And I was just like, it feels so relatable, like little girls and all the stuff that comes in with being their parent.
Yeah. Even if Mac has absolutely nothing valuable to share with our audience, we'll be able to create a little bit of fun dialogue about, what it's like raising a couple of crazy tiny people. So glad you got a kick out of that, because I do, I try and outsource a lot of the fingernail painting and the braiding to the wife, but
okay.
It's not always hey, you run ops for a lot of people. Sometimes you got to figure out where your strengths lie in the business, or in this case, the family operations, and, bring in someone more capable. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And, I joke around about it a lot, but it's been a source of tremendous joy in my life, and we've been loving it. So
awesome. Well, definitely my favorite form I've read. It was like, okay. Usually I get the like templated bio. And in there, I think there was even emojis. I feel like I need to go back and double check it, but I feel like you would even put emojis there. It was amazing. So today, we're going to dig into a topic that like I'm pretty passionate about too. And I think in general, it's an important topic. But as we just have this market shift, it's even more imperative that people are looking at their tech stack and making sure that it's actually doing what they paid for. Is it being effective? So share a little bit. I mean, you've obviously been in the real estate tech space for a long time. So what does it take to get the most out of your tech stack?
That is a loaded question.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little while. We're going to have to unpack it. I think it's understanding a little bit, having some self-awareness about where the business owner is in their growth, in their journey of being a business owner. The needs of a small team, 4 to 5 person team versus a mega team are going to be a lot different, where the leader of that team is going to be in production still. Do they have admin resources to support some of the things they need to do to grow? Do they want to stay small and kind of be this like SEAL team type organization? And then, versus the bigger organizations, you start to have a lot more like clearly defined roles in the businesses. And those people can allow for better rollout of systems that support needs, and they can do a better job of scaling. So yeah, it really depends on where they're at. But one of the kind of fundamental things that I tend to live by when it comes to real estate is like, how do we simplify life for an agent so that they can stick to those dollar producing activities that drive the business forward? How do you keep them out of the admin systems, out of, in this case, it open and close, out of the transaction? How do we enable them to be working in their database, creating connections, conversations, appointments to progress people and be the agent that they use in their next transaction? So, I think it's kind of assessing where they're at in the business and then kind of going from there. But ultimately, agents, keeping it as simple as possible. How do you enable them with tools that just allow them to succeed at a high level?
Yeah. So when we're talking about tech, how would you recommend a team decides either A, to cut something out of their tech stack, or B, to add something on? Like, what kind of questions should they be asking themselves? What should I be doing? Should I be adding this on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first exercise is kind of probably just putting a spreadsheet together and outlining every single system that they have and have a subscription for.
Yeah.
Which is pretty simple, and you hear people do it a lot. But I was at an Inman talk many years ago. Gosh, I forget who it was, but they presented and showcased how most businesses have a bloat of technology and systems, and then looking at maybe some sort of scale in terms of how important and critical it is to the business, and also maybe another metric around adoption of that, and kind of working through one by one. And you'll start to get a better bird's eye view of what's going to be crucial for their business, and also what's being used well versus not being used well. Because sometimes, like a broker provided system may be an invisible cost to the team because they're paying some sort of split or fee to the brokerage, but they don't see it as being something that they want to use. But in reality, there could be some features or functionality in that tool that they could use to create greater efficiency in some of their operations or lead follow-up or what have you. So, I think it's kind of taking a look at everything that they're using and trying to create some measurement around effective use of that and cost of it as well. So starting there and then continuing to look at where they view gaps in their own business, like, are agents spending too much time? I'm going to be stuck in this open to close loop, so forgive me here. I'm trying not to be too much of a homer here. But if an agent's spending a ton of time managing the transaction themselves, is a team leader looking to potentially do more to open them up to go and sell? Do they need to find an outside TC service? Do they want to implement something in-house? What is it? Because that's going to be a gap or a hindrance to growth potentially in my mind. So I think starting there, a good look, bird's eye view, and then also at the business, that self-reflection and awareness that I mentioned earlier. Are they aware of where they may be falling short or have opportunities to improve? And that's going to give them an idea of maybe what to pursue next, right? Yeah. So what are you seeing?
Okay. I mean, we do something probably not so official as to like a spreadsheet with like adoption, which I would love to start implementing, but we do just something where we just go through credit card statements and we go through we start by just figuring out what we're paying for. Because I can easily cut out, I usually find with most teams a few $100s a month. Like just by going through credit card statements, being, you're paying this, you're paying that, you're paying that. Okay, let's log in. How many users are you paying for? Are we using all the users, right? And usually I always find that there's always been a couple stragglers that are left on, or if we pay for it for a year, do we get a discount? There's a lot of things we could do to save money. And then we just start looking at it, are you using it overall? Oh no, I signed up for it at a conference and then they just took my credit card and it's been charging me for the last 8 months. I've never actually logged in. Okay. So let's either use it, or cancel it. So similar, but I would love to kind of implement something that's more like along the lines of, okay, have we fully adopted this product? We do that during onboarding to stats clients. We have them fill out their adoption or their usage of all the products that they have, but I don't really revisit it afterwards. I feel like an actual like official spreadsheet would be amazing to do, because
operationalizing your operational overview. What's a good way to describe that? But I think there's a good little catchy way to position that service that you provide. But yeah, I think that's critical. People get excited at events, especially, they hear the person at the booth and you're like, oh my God, that would make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Let's sign up. But then they get home and they realize, oh my God, they took pages and pages of notes of other things they need to implement. They're going to go and prioritize those. Timing's everything. It's the greatest resource that we have to figure out how to allocate in our lives. And it's tough. I try and empathize and be aware, but obviously on the other side, being a vendor and trying to drive adoption, we get stuck in our own little hole. That's why, we appreciate stats solutions so much, because you can be a little bit more effective in these situations as well. So
yeah,
so it's always good to go folks like you.
Yeah, we're going to almost like force adoption on you, or I'm going to make you cancel. I mean, that's usually what kind of we are, is like, I'm either going to get all the agents to use it or the team to use it, or it needs to be canceled and moved off. Whatever you're going to use is the right product. I mean, I would love, so for the people that aren't familiar with Open to Close, I would love for you to kind of share what Open to Close is as a product. I know we're not trying to go into a sales pitch or anything like that, but I use Open to Close for our TC business. We also use it for a few of our different clients. So I obviously appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about what it does and what it can do for some of our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So Open to Close is just a very, very robust transaction management platform. So just a little bit of backstory on how the company started, because this was important to me, in between my time at Sisu and what was next. I had a lot of great conversations with some really cool businesses that were getting started in our space. And for me, it was like, I want to go work with very much a product-led solution in the space that I think has, good outlook for where the industry is going. Mm-hmm. And in a very tight and competitive market, something that drives operational efficiency or increases top funnel, mid funnel opportunities to the business, or increases agent conversion. Those things are going to be really kind of critical to me. So Open to Close started, as a company that was really just designed for TC companies, like like part of your business. Mm-hmm. And Andrew Altman, the co-founder, met with Shane, our other co-founder, to kind of evaluate it. Like, can I make this work for my real estate team? He was running a team in Arizona at the time. And, he basically laid out all of these things he'd like to see from TC Workflow was the name of the company at the time. And he didn't expect to hear back from Shane, but a couple days later, Shane followed up and was like, actually, you know what? You're right. I would like to, partner with you. I've actually purchased the domain Open to Close. Let's move forward in building this out and creating a solution that can serve teams and brokerages as well. So some product refinement there, but some kind of core principles of the business of, it being an open platform, which I think is critical in this day and age. Any platform that kind of holds data hostage or makes it difficult to get things out and into other systems, to me, is a bit of a red flag, and something that I advise regardless of association there. And you're starting to see it more in our industry, but also just the fact that the professionals, the TCs were loving Open to Close gave me a lot of confidence that we could do a lot to grow this in, sort of the top team brokerage, market of real estate. So yeah, we really we describe ourselves as more of a luxury product, frankly, where it starts to really make a huge impact on the bottom line for those teams and brokerages doing over 200 sides a year that have a TC in-house. Otherwise, like, TC services are still a great solution to kind of what we were talking about earlier, give agents a way to focus on those dollar producing activities. So yeah, it's not super sexy, but it kind of is when you get into it, the capabilities of it and some of the things that we're seeing the teams and brokers we're partnering with due to their bottom line has been pretty awesome. So I stay bullish on tech and real estate. I know, we tend to follow the trends that y'all do. So we're working on how to help the real estate agent team and go from there.
Amazing.
Was that too sales pitchy? I'm sorry. I hope I didn't.
I don't think it was too sales pitchy. I needed people to understand what open to close was, and in the show notes, we're actually gonna leave a link for just a free trial if anyone wants to check it out. There's what do you call it? There's like the basic account that they put right in there, so you can run a couple transactions through it and test it before they ever even take your credit card. I think is how it works. Yeah.
We definitely. Because it is, again, it's very robust. So instead of time getting a free trial, we do 15 properties.
Yeah.
Where people can take what they've got in their other systems, start to slowly add at their convenience. I know it's probably a busy time of year for a lot of folks. So just give them the opportunity to kind of build at their convenience. And then if they see the value, we'll be trying to reach out and get them connected with our team. But if they see the value, they'll make the move. We try not to hit them over the head with it, but display value in this trial period where folks want to move forward. We'd love to have them partner with us.
Yeah, that's kind of our thing with stats. You either want to work with us or you don't. I'm not going to be salesy. I'm not going to try to pitch you on it. Yeah, I'll provide you as much information as I can, but I'm not going to sell you on it. So I want to shift a little bit. I'm going to ask one of our podcast questions. I'm excited to hear your answer. So, Mac, what is your superpower?
Superpower, aside from my X-ray vision? No, it's going to sound cliche, but I've always been a bit of a people person. So being really good at creating relationships and just sticking with people. I think I'm a social person. I love to get out and, meet and talk. If anyone's spent any time with me, they'll say that I probably talk too much, as probably most of the listeners have picked up on this conversation already. But then the other, can I have 2 superpowers? Is that allowed?
Yeah. I feel like you can have as many as you want. There's no limit.
Oh, okay. Well, now you've opened up a can of worms. No, the other thing I would say is just, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I just don't take myself too seriously. I feel like that helps with a level of emotional consistency to, because we're all going to have ups and downs in our life and our business or whatever. I like to keep things fairly light. But without going too far where, I still want to keep a level of professionalism and, a rapport with, people that I'm working with, on the business front. But, I try and just keep it fairly easy, but that might play into the relationship side of things. And I think more specifically as I'm thinking through this, being a good connector, I love, like, if someone reaches out, I had I won't name names, but someone that you work with reached out and was like, do you know any developers in your network that use this and that? And I was like, you know what, I think I do. Let me see if they're, unfortunately, the person I had in mind, pretty committed, but I love those little opportunities and finding great connections to help people really succeed. So yeah, relationships, being a connector, and then not sweating the small stuff, I think are my 3 superpowers, along with X-ray vision and super strength. But,
that's for another podcast episode. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, Mac, this has been amazing. Thanks for joining us today. If anybody wants to reach out to you to learn more about Open to Close, or just to get to know you and see if there's any mutual connections, where's the best place to send them?
Yeah. Great question. You can find me on Facebook, Mac Hill, MACHILL. And then my work email is mac@opentoclose.com, mac@opentoclose.com. And I'm happy to chat about anything, open, closed, or otherwise. Have been in the technology space for a long time. Having been in this partnerships role, have a pretty good agnostic view of like the different technology partners, from like the CRM, transaction management, business processes, coaches. So yeah, love just, discussing what's going on with people's businesses and seeing if I can't maybe help make a connection for one of my superpowers there. So yeah, just love helping out and, again, just kind of chatting people and creating relationships. So we've come full circle there.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for joining us and have a great day.
Jennifer, thanks for having me. Pleasure catching up. Good seeing you.
Bye.
Bye.